The Tiny Teacher is the first chapter. You know that, normally teachers are teaching you, but even nature can teach you a lot. If you look around yourself, you can see that many things, maybe the non-living objects, the birds, the plants, the animals, human beings, everybody is there. And if you observe them carefully, if you observe them carefully, then everything can teach you. The only thing that is required is sharp observation. So if you have a sharp observation, you can learn from anybody. In this chapter, the writer is highlighting some animals that we can learn from them. So who these animals are? These animals are very tiny ants that we always we can see in around our houses also, and we normally never pay attention to them, but there is a lot that we can learn from these, and they can also become teachers. So the writer has mentioned the ants as the tiny teacher. If you have any questions, any queries, you can ask me. We'll begin with the chapter. Name the smallest insect you have seen and the wisest. Now we see around, there are many insects we know, but we have never done a competition between them to find out that which is the most wisest insect. We always consider and have one opinion in our mind, and that is that human beings are the most wise, and there is nobody else who is more wise, more wiser than human beings. But here, after we'll read this chapter, we will realize that there is a lot that we humans can even learn from the animals, and even those very, very tiny insects. Is it the fly? No. The fly is not the wisest insect. No, it isn't. Is it the mosquito? Even the mosquito is not the most wisest insect. No, not the mosquito. Then it must be the worm. Maybe the worm is the most wise. These are various predictions. So there is one hand raised. Okay. What is this? Arpita Ajay. Yes. What is the question? What is the question? Somebody has had raised hand. Fine, I'll continue. So, name the smallest insect you have seen and the wisest. No, none of these. It is the ant, the commonest, the smallest, but the wisest insect. So it's not that there is a rare insect which has to be the most wise, but it is a very common insect found, and everybody is very, very familiar with this insect. It is the ant. It is the commonest, very small, the smallest, but it is the wisest one. How is it claimed to be the wisest? Let us see. The story of an ant's life sounds almost untrue. Once you will know about the ants, you will feel that it may not be true. How can they be much more better than even the human beings? So let us see what is it. But people have kept ants as pets. Now, how do human beings know about these very small insects, ants? I think you all might have watched National Geographic channel where there are many animals and insects and all sorts of creatures about whom the human beings are studying. So human beings have actually studied about these small insects, ants also. How? They are just living around. So it's very easy. How? That even some people have kept ants as pets. Normally, we human beings are having um, maybe a pet dog or a pet cat or any other pet, but there are some curious human beings, some curious people who have kept ants in their house as pets so that they can note and observe their activity for round the clock, 24 hours, and they have come to know a lot about them. They have gathered a lot of information about them, and they can let us know that how they live and what really happens in their life, and they have watched their daily behavior very closely. So we know a number of facts about this tiny, hard-working, and intelligent creature. So finally, this is the reason that human beings have studied about these small ants, and that is no, that is the reason we all know about them. Okay, moving on. An ant uses its feelers or antennae to talk to other ants by passing messages through them. You know that ants, as cockroaches, etc., you would have seen a fine hair, a pair of hair in front of their body, in front of their mouth, and that is actually the feelers, the sense organ to feel what is happening. Or we also call them antennae, and these ants use the antennae to talk to other ants by passing messages through them. So they are not having some sounds or they are not speaking, but through the antennae they are communicating messages to each other. So you can see how these two large ants are communicating to with each other through this antennae. Watch a row of ants moving up or down the wall. I think this we have all observed. At least a row of ants moving up or down the wall or collecting something, maybe a sugar crystal, etc. This we have all observed. And they are all meeting each other. Maybe we don't know what they are doing. They are greeting each other or what they are communicating. So watch a row of ants moving up or down the wall. Each ant greets all the others coming from the opposite direction by touching their feelers. Normally, as human beings are shaking hands with each other, this is the way to greet. Similarly, the same kind of action, the same kind of uh, uh, action, yes, is observed in ants also, that they are, as they are crossing each other, especially the ones who are coming from the opposite direction, they are touching the antennae with each other and then moving on as though they are speaking, they are communicating, or they are greeting each other. So this is what we have seen, and this is done by the feelers or the antennae. Moving on, where they reside. Now, you know that ants don't live alone. They live in colonies. They live together. There are many ants who are living together in one ant hill. If you have seen somewhere, many of them live together. Okay. There are many ants. The commonest among them are the black or the red ones. Now we know that some information has been given here that there are many kinds or many varieties of ants that are found in this world, and the most common ones are the red ants or the black ants. You may have sometimes seen the red ones. They are also, they bite there is a lot of pain if they bite. And black are very, very common. I think every one of us have seen them. We have seen them since we were children, no doubt, but haven't paid enough attention to them. Yes, because these are tiny insects. Sometimes you would have even killed them under your feet, but we have never paid attention to them. Where do they live? We don't know. We have never thought or maybe hardly seen that where they are living and where they are coming from. In their comfortable homes called nests or ant hills, I think ant hill is a better name, though this place is also known as a nest, but ant hill is better. It's just like a very small hill that they make out of mud, and inside this small mound or hill they have made a whole building kind of a structure in which there are many rooms, there are many passage, many compartments for different kinds of fans, different. So I think it's a very well structured house that they make. So I think they are also very good builders, because their home suggests this. Even in the picture here you can see that how various ants are coming and how they are accumulating the food in some storehouses, etc. So these are the various compartments inside their house. We are not normally able to see these compartments, but those who have studied them thoroughly and keenly, they came to know about this and they are telling us about this. Each anthill has hundreds of little rooms and passages. That means they have a very huge house as compared to us, not according to the size, but comparatively, they have a lot of rooms and a lot of passages which are leading to these rooms. So a very well structured uh, anthill has been is built by them. In some of these rooms, the queen ant lays eggs. Now, students, before moving ahead, I would make you remind, if you have studied about honeybees, that there is a division of labor. These honeybees have a queen honeybee and there are certain labors. So here also the ants have been divided into various categories according to the work they do, and they are for their entire life doing the same kind of work. So, what are the different variety of these ants? Some are workers, some are cleaners, some the queen lays the eggs, and there are some nurseries in which the nurses take care of the grubs. Then there are some workers who are collecting the food. So there is a perfect division of labor seen here in the life in the colony of the ants. In some of these rooms, the queen lay eggs also. So we can see in this picture that one of the or many of the rooms have been used here to collect the food. Then there are some rooms which are specially allocated to lay eggs only. Others are nurseries for the young ones. Other rooms are there only for the young ones. There, the development of the small infant of the ants take place to the proper ant, because here also there is a whole life cycle of ants, which is just like the butterfly cycle, that there is a larva, there is a pupa, and then finally a butterfly comes out from the cocoon and all that. So similar kind of a life cycle here is also seen. So there are various compartments. The life cycle we will see later. Here you remember one thing. Okay, somebody has raised hand. I will unmute you for some time, that if you have any questions, you can ask me. Yes, students, is there any question? Swanish has raised his hand.
Ma'am, what is the meaning of grub?
Yes, grubs. Grubs are the infant ants, very small, not completely developed ants. About these grubs, we are going to study in this chapter, as the chapter follows and proceeds. Don't worry about it. Grubs are just the small infant ants which are given birth, and gradually they will transform into a complete ant, and we will see the life cycle also. Okay. Any other question?
Okay.
Any other question?
And what is the meaning of untrue, ma'am?
What? Pardon?
Ma'am, what is the meaning of untrue?
Untrue is not true, is
Ma'am, in the
wrong.
first.
Yes, untrue means
Okay, ma'am.
wrong. Okay, fine.
No, fine, dear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
let's
ma'am.
carry on. Let's carry on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we see that others are nurseries. Some rooms
No,
are
ma'am.
there which are only for the development of these young ones. I can listen some sound here. Is somebody unmuted? Okay. Workers have their reserved quarters. Now for each kind of ant, there are separate portions in the ant hill. For the workers, the quarters are reserved in a separate area. That means they are having their own compartments to live. They spend most of their time searching for food. Now, what is the work of workers? Their main job is to search for food for everybody. It's not that they are searching food for themselves only, but for everybody. Some rooms serve as storehouses for this food. And whatever food they bring, the workers, okay, this meeting will end in 10 minutes. Upgrade now to remove the 40-minute time limit. I'm upgrading right now. Okay. Some rooms serve as storehouses for this food. Soldiers have separate barracks. Now, one thing I told you, workers have their own rooms to live, and whatever food they bring, and for the collection of this food also, there are certain storehouses, certain rooms. Now, soldiers are also there, soldier ants. They are just doing the work of safeguarding the small grubs, infants, or the whole ants. So soldiers have their own separate barracks. You know that even human beings, the rooms allotted to soldiers by human beings is normally referred to as barracks. So here also we are referring the rooms of the soldier ants as barracks. No worker has ever tried to live in a soldier's house, and no one fights over there. There is no quarrel. Their life is very peaceful. Everyone is doing his or her own work. So here we see there is perfect division of labor and very peaceful environment where they are living. No one snatches anything, no one fights over anything, and never there is any chaos or confusion. No worker has ever tried to snatch the soldier's house. No soldier has ever gone out searching for food, because whose job it is? The job of searching food is of the worker, not a soldier. No worker or soldier or cleaner has ever harmed a grub. Even the small infants, the grubs, they are not harmed by any of the ants. That means they are living in a very peaceful manner. Their life is non-disturbing to each other. So I think human beings should really take a lesson from them, where we are always fighting among each other and encroaching and disturbing each other. Their life is absolutely peaceful. So you see, an ant's life is very peaceful, no doubt. If this is the condition, their life is very peaceful. Each does its share of work intelligently and bravely. Whatever work they have been assigned from the beginning, They are doing the same work and never fights with other members of the group. Now, because there are no clashes, because there is no overlapping, and there is nothing like taking, grabbing something, or overlapping of something, of the resources, anything like that. So they don't have any kind of fights among the members of their groups. We have the first comprehension check. We will move on. Ignoring this right now, we will move on. The queen is the mother of the entire population of the colony. Yes, it is right, because the whole colony has been created by the eggs of the queen. So it is the mother of the entire population, and the work of the queen is to lay eggs. It lives for about 15 years. What is the lifespan of the queen? It is 15 years. It has a pair of wings also. Normally we see that the ants don't have wings. But if you want to demarcate and identify a queen from the other kind of ants, from workers and cleaners, etc., you can see that it has a pair of wings, but not for the entire life. Let us see. But bites them off after its wedding flight. Okay. So the queen has its wings, but the queen itself bites the wings after the wedding flight. After it flies once with its mate, this flight takes place on a hot summer day. And then a particular season has also been destined here when this flight will take place. It is the summer season or the hot summer day only this does happen. The queen leaves the nest and goes out to meet a male ant. Okay, so what happens on that day, that it leaves the nest and goes out, flies high in the air, even the male flies high and they meet, or drone. The male is also known as drone here. They fly high up in the air, and on its return to Earth, it gets rid of its wings and then does nothing but lays eggs. Okay. So as the queen comes down, it bites its own wings, because now no more does the queen has to ever fly in her life. Now she will do only one work, and that is laying eggs. Eggs hatch and grubs come out. Now this is the process of development. Now what happens, that the eggs hatch after some time, and what comes out from these eggs are the very small tiny grubs. They are not properly formed ants. They are just known as grubs. Soldiers guard them. Now when somebody is very small and not independent, dependent on the others, nurseries and all, obviously they are prone to being killed also. So soldiers work is to guard these grubs. Workers feed and clean them. Now workers are bringing the food, feeding these small grubs, and also cleaning them. So as a mother uh, uh, feeds a small child and gives bath to the small child, the same way the workers are feeding and cleaning the small grubs, and also carry them about for daily airing, exercise, and sunshine. Now, we all know very well, human beings, that we require sunshine, we require vitamins and nutrients and everything. So, here, these animals are also wise enough to know this, and so the workers are taking these grubs which are in their process of development out, so that they get fresh air, they are able to exercise, and they get proper sunshine for their development. Okay, there is a hand raised. Just a moment, I'll ask you. 2 or 3 weeks Two hands are raised. Okay. Let me ask. Yes, Pamnani. What is the question?
Ma'am, where we have to write the questions, answers, or we
I
have to take in the book?
Actually, I have sent a message that if you have your old notebook, first of all, if new notebook is available, obviously you have to write in the new notebook. And if not, then you can even use your old notebooks, tear pages, and pin them down properly and use those old pages also. Got it? Is it fine?
Ma'am, we have to make two separate copies, na? Ma'am, we have to make two separate copies.
Right now, if you have two separate copies, because it's the time of lockdown, if you have two separate copies, then you make two. Otherwise, you divide one single copy into two. Okay. In the beginning, you can have your course book, literature, and from the middle part, you can begin with the supplementary reader. Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And right now,
Okay, ma'am.
please ask questions which I am teaching you. Swanish, what is the problem, Swanish?
Yes, ma'am. What is the meaning of feed?
Feed. Feed is to give food to somebody, to make somebody eat. Okay. So workers as mothers are giving food to the grubs and even cleaning them. Okay. So they know the importance of
Yes, ma'am.
cleanliness here. Got it?